I don't accept the premise in your question, which is that Hamas, that the raid failed. Didn't fail because it had one central message, and we considered it before we launched it. And that is, you can hide, you can run, but we'll get you. You can, and this is important. I mean, terrorists they think they enjoy immunity, they'll do it again and again and again. And if you deny them that immunity, they'll think twice. Well, we're still getting the final reports. I'll tell you what the impact of the strike is. We sent a message to the terrorists. You can run, but you can't hide, and we'll get you.
אדוני ראש הממשלה, לפי הדיווחים, לא רק שהתקיפה של צה"ל נכשלה בקטר, אלא גם נחשפו יכולות מסווגות של צה"ל בתקיפה בשבוע שעבר. האם בדיעבד אתה מצטער על ההוראה שנתת להוציא את התקיפה לפועל?
Well, I don't accept the premise in your question, which is that Hamas, that the raid failed. Didn't fail because it had one central message, and we considered it before we launched it. And that is, you can hide, you can run, but we'll get you. You can, and this is important. I mean, terrorists they think they enjoy immunity, they'll do it again and again and again. And if you deny them that immunity, they'll think twice. לכן הטענה שהפעולה בקטר נכשלה, אני לא מקבל אותה, כי הדבר העיקרי שרצינו להעביר זה המסר. שאתם לא מקבלים חסינות בשום מקום בעולם. זו הייתה המדיניות שלנו, וזאת היום המדיניות שלנו.
Mr. Prime Minister Robbie Grammer with the Wall Street Journal, just to put a finer point on it, would you rule out further strikes on Hamas operatives in foreign sovereign countries in the region? And for Secretary Rubio, what's your message to close U.S. allies like the UK, which you plan to visit, on the vote at the United Nations to advance a Palestinian state, not just to nations overall, but some of our closest allies like the UK? Thanks.
The principle that terrorists should not have immunity wherever they are, wherever they may be, was not established by me. We had a massacre a few decades ago. It's called the Munich Massacre, in which PLO terrorists murdered our athletes to the Olympic Games. And my predecessor, Golda Meir, vowed that we shall track down these terrorists and get them one by one, which is what we proceeded to do in the leading European countries. And we did this one by one by one. I didn't hear a great cry of wrongdoing to these countries. Even though they weren't harboring terrorists, the terrorists were there. Okay, they didn't even harbor them, as is the case in other cases. The terrorists happened to be on that soil, and we acted, which is what democracies do, including the leading democracy, when they have the ability to target terrorists to threaten their civilians. So this is a principle we established. It's a principle we follow. It hasn't changed.
On your question, these things that people are doing and these different countries are doing at the United Nations, first of all, they're largely being done because of their own domestic politics. Second of all, they're largely symbolic. They have really no impact whatsoever in bringing us any closer to a Palestinian state. The only impact they actually have is it makes Hamas feel more emboldened. It makes other elements like Hamas feel more emboldened. It actually has made it harder. It's actually served as an impediment to peace. In the past, we have seen when these statements have come out, maybe there's a negotiation going on, maybe you think you've actually made some progress on getting some hostages released or an end to the war, and then these things come out, and all of a sudden these groups back off, in many cases walk away. Hamas has walked away from agreements that they actually had tacitly agreed to, but then they see the sort of international support they believe they're getting and they walk away from it. So we've warned of two things. One, it actually makes it harder to negotiate when those negotiations were occurring, and because it emboldens these groups. And the second is we've warned them that there will be an Israeli counter-reaction to those moves, and we've seen some of that happen as well. So I think these things have actually made it harder to end this war and this conflict, not easier. And we've expressed that to them. I've expressed that to them directly on multiple occasions, and I'll continue to do it. Now, they're going to do what they want, and they're going to continue to do what they're doing, but I'm telling you, it's actually hurting the cause they think they're furthering.